Hey folks, it's Chad here, and you have reached part 2 of the 2-part series on the #1 selling travel trailer for 2022 at Airstream. Now, the first part, we talk about the whole outside of the Flying Cloud. Now, be sure to go watch that one if you haven't watched it, because Tim gives us so many incredible little nuggets on the outside of Airstream and the history of Airstream and his history at Airstream. And so if you haven't watched that, I'll link it above and below in all those places so you can go watch that. Watch that first and then come and watch part 2. Now, part 2, we're going to jump to the inside of the Flying Cloud. Now, this one, I'm going to grab the camera and kind of take over the camera work at that point and let Tim just kind of lead the way on the inside. Again, Tim gives us some incredible insights and little secrets and tricks for the Flying Cloud and how to use it. If you like the video, make sure you like it and subscribe. If you don't like it, of course, there's the other button for that as well. I hope you enjoy the video. Let's jump in now.
Man, Chad, as soon as you come in, there's a few things that's really notable. One is on the 25 front bedroom, we have 17 windows and skylights. Now, I'm not going to take all the time to point them out, but I'm just going to show you that we put windows on the rear end shell. We also put windows on the front end shell. Some nice porthole windows right over here above the galley. Two 30-inch windows with vista views right over the sofa. So what that does, man, you just notice just Mother Nature coming in. It really opens up the unit very nicely. The next thing, I almost wish we had smell-o-vision. You know, the thing that you notice when you walk into an Airstream, you don't get that outgassing smell that you get with, again, I'm going to use that term again, SOB, some other brand. You just don't get it. Now, this 25-foot Flying Cloud just arrived from the factory. Yep. And you don't get any of that burning eye sensation, formaldehyde outgassing. And I will tell you, there's formaldehyde everywhere. There really is. It's in our shoes. It's in our cars. And a notable fact that an oak tree, the sap in an oak tree, really consists of formaldehyde. So there's even formaldehyde out with Mother Nature. But formaldehyde is really and I'm using outgassing, formaldehyde is what a lot of people refer that to, is the glues, the binders that holds everything together. On an Airstream, remember, we have the rivets that's holding that shell together. And there's 3,000 rivets on average on the Airstream trailer. And just a little bit of fact about the rivet, I know I'm going backwards, but that rivet is a time-proven fastener that's been around for decades. It really is. And I'm just going to go back to the Golden Gate Bridge. Everybody knows the Golden Gate Bridge. Don't ask me how I know this fact, but it's there. The Golden Gate Bridge has 2 towers, and then it's got the suspension bridge, but there's 1,250,000 buck rivets holding that Golden Gate Bridge together. Now, that's a steel rivet versus aluminum rivet. Yeah. I get all that, but it's still a rivet. Yeah. That rivet is a time-proven fastener, but it really doesn't require glues and binders to hold it together. Same thing with our cabinetry. Our cabinetry, when you start opening up these cabinetry doors, you'll notice that we have a laminate. Now, one of the nice things about the laminate is it's basically scratch resistant. It's also stain resistant, and then also the sunlight doesn't affect it. You know, so it doesn't fade so much. But you can see everything's put together with screws. And if we start looking up some of the cabinets in here, we're going to notice all 3/4 half-inch material. There's no 5/32. There's no oriented strand board or OSB board or particle board. This is all made out of 3/4 half-inch. And we call it Italian light ply. So it's basically a popular plywood with a laminate over it. Now, this is on the Flying Cloud, the International, the Globetrotters, the Pottery Barns. The Classic's a little bit unique, but anyway, we have the laminate over this 3/4 half-inch material, Italian light ply. Now, what's special about it, it's lightweight. It's about 30 to 40% lighter than your traditional plywood. So we still have the strength, but we have the thickness for those dowel pins, pocket screw. We have the thickness, so we don't have to rely on staples for all the furniture. And remember, all this furniture is walked through the door and hand-scribed, hand-fitted into position. One of the nice things about an Airstream, even the refrigerator, this 10 cubic foot refrigerator comes through that door. So let's say if we have or an 8 cubic foot, I'm sorry, thank you.
10 on the 30.
10 on the 30.
Yeah.
This 8 cubic refrigerator walks right through that door. And then if you need service at some time, because remember now, this trailer is time proven, built to last generations. It truly is. So if we need service on some of the appliances,
that's something that
walks right
kind of
through the
jump
door.
in that I really like about Airstream. Even if you're getting an older one, or a lot of people, actually the doctor I was just seeing, her sister bought it in the 70s and remodeled it. She was telling me all about it because I had an Airstream shirt on. You can replace the fridge, and you can replace the shower, you can replace and update things because it all fits through the door, which makes it last longer. Just like you remodel a house, you can remodel this over time.
Very, very well said. And I want you to do me a favor. And one of the things that we look at Airstream, when people walk in an Airstream for the first time, one, they notice the windows that we pointed out. But the second thing is storage. Man, they see this Airstream trailer going down the road, this aerodynamic shape, aircraft looking design. They see it going down the road, and the first thing they think of is, well, they don't have any storage. Now, admittedly, we're tight on storage on the outside because we have this low center of gravity. It's about a trade-off, right? But once we come to the inside, the storage just opens right. Now, this is a 25. Now, bear with me here just a little bit. But we have storage on the rear locker. We have storage on the front locker. If you bear with me just a little bit, Chad.
Yep.
We're going to have storage underneath the dinette. We're also going to have storage underneath here. This is going to double up. You can leave that open. This is going to double up as storage. We're going to have storage here. Look at this. Storage in the drawers. 3 drawers. Storage. I think stack them up very, very nicely. Storage underneath here. Again, storage in the overhead locker. Storage above the refrigerator. Now this doesn't have a support on it. Same thing over here. We have storage. How about a pantry? Pantry with storage. Wardrobe. It doesn't stop there. It gets better. On the twin now, we have a hanging wardrobe with storage. Another locker over the other twin bed. Storage. 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 And guess what? Oh, wait, there's more. Storage, 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 and storage. Now we ship bins,
Which is one of my
so they can
favorite
take them
things
inside.
that
But now,
Airstream does, yeah.
let's just turn around. And we didn't get even into the bathroom yet.
No.
But just turn around and look at all the components that I've opened up. Airstream trailer is very unique. If it's got a cavity where we could put storage in it, we put storage in it. That really makes it nice for those extended camping trips.
Oh, there's one more door we didn't open.
Oh yeah, I didn't make my way around it.
There's around another door.
So, you start looking at it, there's a lot of storage, and the other thing, you can feel the quality. You can hear the quality when you open up this. A lot of customers, when they walk into that house, when they're looking at a home, the first thing that they'll do is go to the kitchen and they'll open up the drawers, open up the cabinetry. Why? Same thing as a car. When you go into a high-end car and you shut that door, you can hear the quality, you can feel the quality. Same thing with Airstream. When you shut these cabinet doors, you can definitely feel it. Talk about it. Look at the struts on these locker doors. Very, very, very substantial on the inside, but a lot of storage in an Airstream, which makes it kind of challenge. You put something away, you better remember what compartment you put it in.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, a lot of storage on the Airstream, and that's another nice feature of the Airstream. One, it's about the quality construction of the cabinetry and how the cabinetry are all walked through the door. But when we start looking at the storage is absolutely huge. The other thing that I want to point out is, look how much room I have. Now, I'm only 5'8" but we start looking at it, it's 6 foot 7.5" is our interior height on the Flying Cloud, the International, Pottery Barn, all substantial. 6 foot 7.5". That's a lot of headroom.
You got a duck when you come through the door.
Still got a duck, and we know that. And we put a little, we call it a head knocker. We just put a little pad above that door, to give you just a little bit of cushion if something would happen. But anyway, just walking right back. Of course, we have the pantry and the 25. If this was a 27, and it's all a 25, now the microwave could go in here with the convection microwave under. Now, a lot of customers will opt for the convection microwave. Now,
That's been really popular.
It's been very, very popular. You know, typically, and I'll let you second me on this, but typically when I see a unit being traded in that's got the full oven's used for bread storage or pots and pan storage.
Really?
You just don't need all that storage in here. So hey, let's get. And then some people say, well, I'm going to do a lot of dry camping. You know, well, the reality is, if you're going to do a lot of dry camping, you know, you still got your power up here, and then you could use the outside portable for propane, because we got a portable propane that we didn't really touch on outside. So, man, just walking all the way through, nice shower, fiberglass shower with a light. Now we put a seat in there, so if you come in the shower, we put a seat right inside the shower, so you can sit down, you can.
I call that the tall guy seat.
It's a tall guy seat, exactly. But again, it's fiberglass. It's fiberglass. It's not plastic. It's
right?
It's a two-piece front bottom, but it's seamed together. But again, this shower walked right through that door, which is amazing.
That is, yeah.
And then, of course, coming in the back room, we got the twin beds. I kind of mentioned on the outside, but the twin beds are nice. You know, they're 80 inches long, 34 inches wide. So it really gives you a little bit more square inches than the double or the queen, and the queen would come off the side. These twins really open up, and you know, if you start looking at, you know, twins versus queens, twin beds are very, very popular with our customers. And I like,
the phrase I hear a lot is, but I like my husband.
I like your husband. I truly understand that. But you know, even if you have, you know, I'll just throw it. If you have a king beds, you know, a lot of us sleep on king beds at home. One's over on this side, one's over on that side. It's too hot. Get away. Yeah.
And well, my
one's
dog
on this
right
side, one on that side, with the dog right in the center. You're exactly. You know, with the queen bed or twin bed, you still have that. You got the bed over here, and then of course, if somebody has to get up in the middle of the night to use the facilities, they certainly can. If you want to bring your buddies along, you got room. The kids want to use it, they certainly can. But then it also, a lot of RVers travel with pets. Mm-hmm. Travel with pets, and so now you have a place for the pets to lay down. But more importantly, it really opens up this floor plan. It really makes the floor plan.
I feel like with the twin bed, it feels like it feels like a whole different floor plan, not just an adjustment or a different feature.
Sure.
The way that it opens it up.
Yeah, it does. No, absolutely. Very,
so
very
let me swing around, and then we can go into the bathroom.
Oh, we certainly can. So while I'm right back here, I want to point out a few things. You know, this year, for 2023 model year, we went to 12-volt TVs. You know, the reason we went to 12-volt TVs, we see a lot of people wanting to dry camp, as I mentioned. You know, we put solar. You know, solar is becoming increasingly popular with Airstreams, and you know, that's kind of why we leave the batteries out. It's about tailoring the trailer to fit the customer's usage.
Now, you gave us a little like hint of 24 changes.
Yeah, 2024 we're going to have the lithium as an option. Lithium batteries as an option. It's going to be battle born, 2 100 amp battle born, but lithium.
Will that be kind of like the base camp where there's a solar and then an advanced solar? Is it kind of that idea?
You're not exactly sure yet. We're still trying to
iron that out. Okay, so don't hold anything here.
Yeah, don't hold that, Timmy. But anyway, quality mattresses that we use. You know, these are residential mattresses. You know, if you go to your typical SOB, you know, these will be like pancake mattresses where, you know, you sit on it, you sleep on it for one night, you wake up with an aching back. These bring all the comforts of home right into the Airstream.
And if you're looking for sheets for these, Airstream Supply store.
Airstream Supply is a great term. Down here is the converter. The converter is an auto detect converter. So, you know, we mentioned about customers wanting to put lithium batteries in it. This will auto detect the lithium batteries. So we started that in 2023 as well. So
okay,
nice addition. Nice bathroom.
And a lot of storage, I mean, in the bathroom as well.
Now, one of the secrets that a lot of people do, they'll open this up. They'll open this up right up here. They'll bring this right over, and now they can get dressed
like
all the way back here. They got access to the
wardrobe.
The wardrobe.
Yeah.
And then of course they can shower, they can get ready, they can do their makeup, and then they're not really bothering everybody up in front.
Yeah, that's better than I mean, you have the curtain that you can use.
You have the curtain that you can use as well, but this way it kind of opens it up. makes it run a little bit more fluid, so to speak. So
now I joke about this a lot, and since I've got you here, about every video I make, I joke about this not having a strut.
Right.
Is there a reason?
Can't answer that. Come on, don't stump the chump. I'm not exactly sure why we don't have a strut on there, but that's really just for some little things.
Just it's a little spot. I found that Airstream, if they can give you that little bit of storage, they give it to you.
We're going to go after it. That's exactly right. And then of course you start looking up at the ceiling. And I mentioned 7 foot 6.5 inches, but pretty soon you start looking at the ducted AC. We went to ducted AC in 2015. One of the benefits of the ducted AC, it's really like residential AC in your home, central air in your home.
There's like a duct up there, right?
There's a duct up there, and basically you have on average about 12 outlets. You can shut these off, you can rotate them, but you get that constant temperature all the way through the trailer. You don't get any of the hot, cold spots. But more importantly, it's quieter. The air conditioners have really changed. They really have. They become increasingly loud. Mm-hmm. And so when we went to the ducted AC, it just quiets things down, and then you can have a conversation from front to back.
Now with the intake, the unit's like kind of sitting. So the intake's here. Is the unit sitting like right here?
Yeah, it's gonna come off across and around up front. So about the center of it's going to be about right there, and they are heat pumps.
Yeah.
On the 25, if it has a single AC, it's going to have a 15 with a heat pump, 15K. Okay. If it's got the second one in the bedroom, now it's going to have a 13.5 with heat pump, and then of course the first one's still going to be the 15.
So a question I get a lot is, does the 25 need 2 ACs?
It all depends. We can easily get by with a single AC on a 25. We really can. And it's all about that temperature split. We're looking for about 20-degree temperature split. Don't want to get too technically in there, but a single AC will be fine. The thing is, it's just like a car, and that's what I really remind people. When we set our car and we go to the mall or wherever we go, it's a hot day, it's 90, 100 degrees out, wherever it is, when you go back to your car, that car's going to be hot. It's going to take a while for that car to cool down once you get in it. It really is. So the very first thing you do, you roll the windows down. Airstream's just no different. When you walk inside and when it's hot out, first thing you want to do, you want to turn these fans on. These fans, 720 cubic foot of air a minute. Don't ask me how I remember that. It's in here.
I don't know.
720 cubic foot of air.
Fantastic
vents, 720 cubic foot of air. Now, I will tell you, on these, the vents that we put on exhaust the air.
Okay.
There's a reason why, and I get that question a lot. Well, why do we put Fantastics on that don't bring the air in? Well, just remember, the air conditioner, that's pumping the hot air out up to the out through the roof. The stink pipes or the vent pipes for the black tank, the gray tank, all then vent up. So the hottest, the dirtiest air is going to be on the roof. We don't want you to bring any of that air inside the trailer. We don't. So these exhaust out 720 cubic foot of air a minute. What you do, you turn them on, and then you're going to open up a window. And if it was me, I would turn this one on, and then I would open up a window in the back. Yeah. And it just draws that air in and exhausts it. It'll cool it down very quick, just like your car. So, when you come in on a hot day, you want to cool it down. That's one of the first things you want to do. You want to open up the fan, turn the fan on, open up the windows, and really start exhausting some of that hot air. The other thing is you want to open up some of the awnings as well. Now, if you're going for the day, put the awning up. Put the awning up. You never know what Mother Nature's going to throw at you. But the reality is that'll bring some of that hot air from side, and it just exhausts it right out.
Rain sensors on there?
They have rain sensors on them as well. So it's a really nice feature. So you get it cool, turn the air conditioner on, and it'll keep up. But there's a lot of customers that want the second AC on a 25. We put the second AC on standard once we get at that 28 platform.
Okay.
So the 25s, the 27s are an option. On a 23, it's just single AC.
Okay.
But once you get up to the 25 to 27, it becomes an optional AC. On the 28s, they're standard. That's when Airstream feels that, we really need that second AC. There's customers that want the 25s with 2 ACs. It's an option. You can put it on.
And if it's not, it's 30 amp if it's 1 AC.
Yep.
And then it goes to 50. And so one thing I noticed when I first started kind of moving into the Airstream world, with the traditional, if you're coming from, say, like SOB, we'll say SOB.
It's my favorite term, by the way.
This is the great term. But say we come from the SOB, and it's a 28 foot or even a 25 foot, it's most likely going to be 50 amp with an option to add a second AC.
Right.
And that's so when you're coming across the Airstream, you think, oh, that would be the same way, but it's not. If it's one AC from the factory, it's just one AC.
One
right?
AC from the factory. That's right. 30 amp, one AC. Two ACs, you get 50 amp,
Yeah.
50 amp all the way. And I will tell you, the Airstreams, when you walk, Chad, you'd be able to point this out as well as anybody, but this Airstream's good trailer, when it's locked up and it's summertime, when it's August, it's going to get hot on the inside. But I guarantee you, Chad, when you walk into an Airstream when it's locked up, and then you go over to another trailer, this Airstream's going to be cooler on the inside. Why? White painted roof. Remember, we talked about that white painted roof, but then we also talked about the shell within a shell. Two shells, the inner and outer shell, all isolated with that thermal barrier bonding tape. That's a huge feature. And then when you shut the door, I mean, man, that door is going to shut and protect like a bank vault. When you shut that door, this trailer becomes tight. It truly does. So that's one of the nice features of Airstream is the way we insulate the trailer. Fully insulated trailer. We already talked about the EcoBad insulation. The floor is going to be insulated. The chassis, it's going to have flex foil insulation on the back. So fully insulated trailer. You know,
now,
we haven't.
Do the tanks? This is a question I've been wanting to ask. It looks like when you look under it, the tanks kind of hang down. They're insulated down there.
They're insulated as well. They have a styrofoam insulation in there. Why? You know, because if they have a water leak or something gets in that underbelly, it's styrofoam. Styrofoam water's not going to affect styrofoam, so that's why we put it in there. The tanks are also heated. Anytime that you have the furnace on and it's 25, warm air is going to be pumped down into them into the water tanks, which is a nice feature.
Nobody really ever likes to for the most part, any travel trailer 4 seasons.
Right.
But I do know, I have customers that are going to ski, they go skiing and they take their Airstream to do that.
Yeah, and you know what? You could stay in this trailer down to the single digits, very, very easy. We sell a product at the factory called air skirts. We actually talked about them today.
Yeah.
It's just a little inflatable baffle that goes around the outside, kind of stops that air from coming underneath the tree. If you're staying at a place for an extended period of time, that's a great add-on. If you're just staying for a night somewhere, you may not want to do that, but now we have the furnace that's going to be pumping warm air down there. And then, of course, you still want to protect your dump valves. If we know it's going to get cold, during them winter nights for extended time, you want to put some antifreeze down your tanks, get them around that dump valve so they don't leak. But, there's always, it can be very, very creative. And again, down to the single digits.
Yeah, there's a good blog post on the Airstream blog that I read a little while back that talks about camping in sub-zero and things, and I think those are the air things were on that too.
Yeah, it's very, very common. And I will tell you just 2 facts. Sometimes the winter camping during the winter in the snow, it's the most beautiful time to camp, especially when you're skiing. And then also, I want to point out, we used to have a salesman that stayed in his Classic year round, and he lived in Ohio. Now, it gets cold in Ohio. Not as cold as some other places, but it gets cold in Ohio. It got down below 0. He stayed inside his Airstream trailer. That's where he lived. He was full-time in an Airstream. And, he was an Airstream consultant. But, yeah, he stayed in it for a couple, 3 years. So it is doable.
Okay.
Again, you just have to be creative on some of the things. But, some of the manufacturers say, well, man, we're a 4-season trailer. Well, why are you a 4-season trailer? Well, we got dual-pane windows. Well, Airstream doesn't have dual pane windows. We put dual pane windows in back in the 70s.
Oh, really?
We truly did. But remember now, this trailer is going to last generations. There's still trailers around from the 70s. I mean, it really is. This trailer is going to last a long time. Unfortunately, dual pane windows, that seal gets bad, and then they start fogging up on the inside. So, you really lose that visibility. Even on a residential, I will tell you start looking at some of the dual pane windows at home and they start getting little dots all over them. Well, that's from that seal. And so we go one step further. We put in a window that's got 70% light transmission, blocks out 40% of the light.
Okay.
And something that I didn't point out, and I feel bad, we're talking about the windows, but remember when I was looking at the Lexan on the outside of the trailer, said you can't see in?
Here,
Look at that, you can see out.
Yeah, even on the camera, you can still see
out. So if you go on the inside, say, I can't see. So that's really a nice feature of the Airstream. So now let's talk about the refrigerator. Refrigerator, it's a 8 cubic foot refrigerator, 12 volt only. It's a nice feature. I've been with Airstream, like I mentioned, on the outside since 1987. we started putting 12-volt refrigerators in. Really, when we introduced introduced it first into the base camp, but about 5 years ago we started putting in 12-volt refrigerators.
Okay.
Up until that time, it was the same refrigerator with the same technology. That it just never changed.
No,
it was exactly.
absorption.
And the issue with them absorption style refrigerators, really, they require hydrogen and ammonia. LP, they got to heat it somehow, or electric. But it requires hydrogen and ammonia, and that really what absorbs the heat out of that box. Really totally inefficient. The hotter the ambient temperature is, the less efficient it's going to be. The other thing is it takes about 8 hours for it to cool down. I sort of look at the social media posts and say, man, my refrigerator's not working. Somebody will comment saying, well, you need 8 hours. That's the reality. There's a lot of peaks and valleys. Totally, it's just not efficient. So we went to the 12-volt refrigerator, but we get a lot of people that comment and say, well, I'm going to do a lot of dry camping. I'm going to do a lot of dry camping. I need propane. I don't want to waste electricity. And what I point out is that this is very, very efficient. We could turn this on. We're really not hooked up to shore power. We could turn that on. We could run that for several days without it being hooked up to power. We're just going to run off the solar, and it's very, very efficient. And
yeah, I get that question a lot, is how long. I know it's lithium, if you have lithium versus AGM.
Over a period of time. But where I want to go, the LP refrigerator. The LP refrigerator, to work off, the old absorption style LP refrigerator, you needed 12 volt for that to work. So that 12 volt, really, there's a gas valve. There's a gas valve in the LP refrigerator. That gas valve is a magnet. And it takes 12 volts to keep that magnet open. So, if you don't have 12 volts, it's a safety issue. If you don't have electric, it's going to shut that refrigerator down. Just try it. If you ever have an older one in here, try and run it without the battery disconnect switch on. It's not going to happen because you need 12 volts to open up that gas magnet or that gas valve. Well, that gas valve is huge energy consumption of 12 volt. So basically, it takes more power. Now, get your hands wrapped around this. It takes more power to operate an LP refrigerator off LP than it does to operate this 12-volt refrigerator. So that's a huge fact.
I've never heard that.
This 12-volt refrigerator is efficient. It's going to cool. It's got a compressor, so it's going to be more like a residential. It's going to cool down in about 40 minutes, an hour. And the other thing is, it's going to be constant. The ambient temperature doesn't affect it. If you're going to put ice cream in the freezer, it's going to be ice cream, not ice milk. Ice cream. That's my joke of the day. They get better. So flooring. There's a nice feature about the flooring that we use now. Underneath there, if you look underneath this flooring, you'd see composite flooring. Anything that started at the plant January 1st, 2020 will have a composite flooring. Prior to that, it was a tongue and groove plywood flooring that had several seams in it. January of 2020, anything that started in the new plant now has a one-piece composite. So it's a routed out one-piece composite, runs full length. No seams in it. Now the nice thing about it is it's one piece. It's got great screw retention. Because we're going to fasten the cabinets down. Great screw retention. It's got insulating properties. And the reality is it's impervious to water. So there's a lot of features. And it has, like I say, one piece, so you're not going to see any of the seams. Works very, very well.
One of the things that you told me at the factory when we were doing the factory tour was that you guys screen print onto that floor so they know where holes go through.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. So they have a little router that's going to come through when they do it, and the CNC router is going to put little divots where all these screws go. So so the self-tapping screws, so they get it all fastened down. So we don't skip one. Yeah. It's all done. They put them, which is that's a nice feature because these are built by hand. We want to make it as easy as we can on the employees. So now we start looking at the floor. This floor has a lot of features and benefits to it. So it's a one-piece floor. Now we do not glue the floor down. If you start looking at maybe if we go to the residential and look at some of the linoleums, the residential, they're all glued down. Some of them's loose fit. This is a loose fit flooring. It's not designed to be glued down. We don't want to glue this floor down because we don't want all that outgassing on the inside. And glue, that's not what we're after. So it's a loose laid flooring with a little bit of adhesive on the outside. But then we staple it around the outside perimeter. Staple it all around.
That's similar to how some housing is done.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly the same way. You know, same way. So you can either glue the flooring down. We go to the loose lay. This is a loose lay type of flooring. It's made by Tarkett, and it's got a 10 millimeter wear layer on it. So it's wear layer, so you don't have to, you know, in the old floors you had to worry about the wear layer coming off, flaking off, then you get some dark spots, you get some light spots. You don't get that on the inside. Very, very little outgassing. It's environmental and friendly. And you know what? It's fade resistant as well. So it's, again, it's a great floor. Put it on the Flying Clouds. Once we start getting up into the classic and the Pottery Barn, it's going to be a different type of flooring. But man, even in the Flying Clouds classic, or Flying Clouds, Caravels, Bambis, just great flooring all the way through. That's what we do. I mean, we do. Coming over here, Ultra Leather. We use Ultra Leather on the Flying Cloud. 2 colors on the Flying Cloud. This happens to be Seattle Mist, which is our most popular. If you don't get the Seattle Mist, it's Carolina Clay. Again, just decor. The Ultra Leather.
Only that changes. Everything else stays the same.
Everything else. On the Ultra Leather, it goes over a 200 cycle rub. Wow. Excuse me, 2,000 cycle rub. 200,000. I gotta get that. 200,000.
Okay.
Boy, we jumped all around. 200,000 cycle rub, back and forth for wear layer. It's going to be 20% cooler than leather. It's not going to crack like leather. A lot of benefits to this. And you know what? It's nice to the touch as well. You can just
Is there any maintenance to that?
Warm soap and water. Keep it clean. That's about all you have to. You want to stay away from harsh chemicals.
Okay.
You want to stay away from harsh chemicals. This is going to pull out into a bed. So we have a bed here, and of course these are going to drop down, and then this is going to make into a bed. Hey, look what else we do. We put little, if you look at the back side of it, put air holes in it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it doesn't collapse. It'll come right back up. All of our covers are zipped into place. We put zippers on them. So this makes into a bed. Can put that right there. Now, one of the nice things that we say about it, it's almost like a 3-position. One, they could use it the way it was. You know, if they don't want to use up all this real estate, one, we can go right back, drop it down, and now look what we got.
Oh, yeah.
We got a smaller. Now we still have some real estate here, so we're not taking up the full area. This can either come back over here if you want to. You can keep it here. You can set it right underneath, and then of course you're going to go right back up to where you were. Very, very easy. Again, got a little bit more if you don't need the full room. And then of course if you want this, it's going to sling right over here. Oop, get it right here. Then we're going to go up into place, and we'll move up into place. So this makes into a 42 by 97 inch bed when it's in the down position. This table bay, I'm not going to do it, but basically this table is just going to flip right down. The cushions fill all in. So this becomes a bed, that becomes a bed. Now, one of the nice features that a lot of our customers will do, they'll take this back bolster, drop this down into a bed, bring this back bolster out and fill this out. Then they almost have like an extended lounger where they can sit, watch a movie.
Like a chaise lounge, yeah.
Exactly. Which makes it very, very nice. You know, now coming around, the other thing that we really haven't talked about, there's so many features, is the curtains. You know, the curtains have an insulating fabric on the back.
Oh, really?
Fire retardant insulating fabric on the back. So okay. We manufacture our curtains. You know, when it comes time for the manufacturing process, we have about 1,400 associates at the plant. We manufacture our curtains, the cabinetry, the shell. You know, we build this trailer, main doors, the windows. The nice thing about it is we can control our destiny. We can control the quality, the longevity of it. So makes it really nice. But no, Flying Cloud, extremely popular.
Okay, so we're kind of coming to the end of the video. And I want to first thank Tim for being willing to do this.
Very well. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it.
It's not your first time on camera, because I've watched quite a few of your videos.
I like, yeah. Camera's my friend.
Yeah. So the 25 we mentioned at the beginning was the #1 seller for 2022 on the travel trailer. So the crazy kind of fact that you told me on the phone, the base camp is actually the #1 seller.
The #1 floor plan that we produce is the 20 base camp.
Wow.
20 base camp, number one. Then, of course, then we start getting into the traditional travel trailers, and then it's going to be the 25. The 25 is our meat and potatoes.
Meat and potatoes. Now, was the 25 kind of always that, or is that a new or more recent
No,
thing?
the 25's always been popular.
Okay.
It truly has. Why? We start going back to the weights that I mentioned. The 25 is going to have a gross vehicle weight rating of 7,300 pounds. That really brings a lot of tow vehicles into the dynamic. And let's face it, once you get up into the 25, it becomes 8.5 foot wide, which you really get that real estate on the inside. The refrigerator gets a little bit larger. Definitely the bed, if you get a queen bed, that opens it up as well. So, the 25 offers an awful lot. Then, of course, the front bed, you got the front living, or the front bed, the rear living, if I could say that right. Can you imagine just being kind of backed up to Mother Nature and enjoying
our view right now is not very good, but imagine a river or a lake or
exactly. And what I tell a lot of customers, you got to put yourself in the Airstream. Whenever you go camping, whenever you're going to be out with Mother Nature, she's not going to guarantee that you're going to get sunny days every day.
Right.
She's just not. It's not going to happen. There's going to be rainy days. There's going to be cold days. You want to put yourself in the Airstream. You want to be comfortable. And what other RV are you going to be more comfortable in than an Airstream? Zero. Very, very comfortable with all the windows we put in. Like I mentioned earlier, 17 windows and skylights.
Yeah.
You're not going to see that in a motorhome, a big motorhome.
No,
you're not.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, speaking of motorhome, we see a lot of customers migrating who's had the big motorhomes. And let's say the motorhomes are beautiful. They really, really are. They had the big Class A motorhomes, but you know what? They take a lot of maintenance, a lot of money to keep them on the road.
A whole other engine to maintain.
The reality is you still need a tow vehicle.
Yeah.
You still need to get to point A to point B once you get to the campground. So you still need a tow vehicle. With an Airstream trailer, you got your tow vehicles, you put it. And I will tell you this, a fact that I say, when you go to trade in an Airstream, they're never going to ask you how much you enjoyed it. I mean, they're not. They're going to ask you, what it is, the year and stuff. The very first question they ask when you go to trade in a motorhome is, how much you enjoyed it? How many miles do you have on that?
Yeah.
How many miles is on that engine? How many miles is on that transmission? Oh, you really enjoyed this. Well, let me slash it here a little bit. So the reality, you don't get that on the Airstream Trek. You don't have an engine and transmission to maintain. So it really, really, a lot of benefits to the Airstream Trek.
I know, we're an Airstream dealer, so it's a little bit different, but when we have an Airstream customer that's trading, the thing I found that's different in the Airstream world is we have customers that trade to shorter, we have customers that trade to bigger.
Right.
It goes both ways. Where a lot of times with the SOB brands, mostly it's always bigger. We want bigger, but it kind of goes both ways. But when we see an Airstream, it's like we want it, we want the trade. We're gonna probably give you more for it than we would have any other brand out there, because we probably aren't gonna have to do a lot on it to get it ready to sell.
Right.
And then it's probably gonna sell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's something that when you have it and you do want to trade, you've got a better thing to go trade in or sell yourself than with any of the other brands out there.
You're exactly correct, and that's well said. So I wanna point this out. It's very, very important. So when we start looking at the Airstreams, we touched on a lot of features and benefits. Let's face it.
Yeah.
We did. We touched on the towability of it. Aerodynamic shape, low center of gravity. That's a huge benefit. It's a 20% savings in fuel economy. Takes about 20% less horses to tow an Airstream, and them stats that we've really looked into.
Well, you did wind tunnels.
We did wind tunnels, exactly. The other thing's about the quality construction. This trailer's going to outperform any other product out there. The windows really, that's a huge benefit of being able to sit here and just enjoy Mother Nature. When you walk inside, you can smell the difference. That's huge. You can absolutely smell the difference. Talk about the longevity. 70%'s been still on road since 1931. Show me another manufacturer can say that, which is really, really cool. By the way, then the resale value. The Airstreams hold their value just because of all the benefits that I said. The number one overlooked benefit of owning an Airstream is the lifestyle. You know,
Okay.
we haven't talked about the lifestyle, but when you buy an Airstream trailer, you're buying into this lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it's so unique to any other product out there. You know, we have an owners group. Very, very, very tight community. It's the Wally Byam Caravan Club, do caravans, then they have little regions. They all get together. Very, very tight knitted community. And even if you're not a member of the Wally Byam Club, which I recommend because there's just a lot of resources, but now when you go into a campground, pull into a campground, you know, there's a thing on social media where everybody's you're getting flamingoed, right?
Yeah.
They'll take a little flamingo and set it on your doorstep, set it on your bottle cover. That's just a friendly wave saying,
Oh, that's
hello,
cool.
how are you doing?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just that lifestyle. It's cool, it's hip. You know, the Hollywood team, Matthew McConaughey's got an Airstream. Very, very proud of it. You know, it's just cool, it's hip. But this lifestyle, when you tow this Airstream down the road, people's going to be flashing your lights. They'll be waving. They'll post on social media. Hello, we see you. How you doing? You know, it's something that the power of the brand is very, very strong.
It's like it's kind of like the Jeep Wave that everybody talks about.
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
I see it like the big red number, so BRN.
Yeah.
So I learned about that more about. I knew what it was, but I learned more about it at our recent rally that the Carolina Club had. We went there and kind of hung out with them, fed them, but they were talking about it to the kind of the newbies, like you're going to get this, you know, BRN. Well, the thing I find fun, I'm in a lot of the Facebook groups and stuff, and I'll see people post a photo and they'll say, "Hey, we saw this one on the road and such. Just wanted to say, hey."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so
super cool, super cool. And I have to tell you, you know, Wally had quite the vision back in the 30s when he created this, because he did a lot of the caravans. He did the caravan from Cape Town to Cairo. He did that caravan, huge caravan, but we still get a lot of customers today. He says, I remember seeing these when I was a kid, going down the road. There'd be several of them traveling down the road in a
You want to hear a
caravan.
cool thing?
Yeah.
So our club, if you're in North Carolina or South Carolina, you should definitely join the Carolina Club. I've got a video at some point I'm going to post of them talking about it, but next year, I think it's the month of May, they're doing a caravan for the whole month.
Nice.
They have 4 different spots. They're going to camp, start at one spot, and then when they leave there, they're all going to caravan together to the next one, and then to the next one, and then to the next
It'll
one.
be a lot of fun.
And I'm like, I wish I could just take the whole month of May off and join them.
Sure, right? It truly is. So, you know, the lifestyle, most overlooked thing, and that's what, you know, people... I deal with a lot of customers. I just love interacting with the customers, and one of the things that when I see them at the next show or the following show or see them at the dealerships, they talk about the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Lifestyle is very, very unique to Airstream.
So from your perspective, you've been involved in Airstream for a really long time. You've got a lot of customers that are watching these videos. A lot of folks that are watching these videos are researching. They're trying to figure out what's the right thing, what's the right one, which floor plan, twin bed, not twin bed, you know, whatever it is. What's kind of the bit of advice and things to look for that you would give them as they're kind of researching for that next Airstream or for that next RV?
Sure. You know, first of all, understand how you're going to use it. That's probably my number one advice, because a lot of people get 2-foot-itis, right? You know, we hear about 2-foot-itis. You know, they'll settle on a 23, and a year later say, well, I want a 25. They want to get up 2 foot. You know, always get bigger, and then at some point they go, well, I went too big. I got to go backwards now. But my number one advice is really identify how you're going to use it and what your needs are. You know, and there's going to be some trade-offs, right? You know, everybody wants a 30-foot, but we just talked 30-foot's got a 10 cubic refrigerator. 25's a nice sweet spot. It's got an 8 cubic refrigerator, and it's very, very spacious. But again, there's going to be some trade-offs. So just really understand how are you going to do a lot of dry camping? And, you know, a lot of people, they want to accessorize the Airstreams. And, you know, my advice is, well, why don't you kind of decide how you're going to use it? Because sometimes we think we know how we're going to use it, but once we get it home, we start getting into the camping lifestyle. We're not using it like we thought we would. We're going to use it in a different environment. So kind of identify how you're going to use it. And then the other thing is stop into the dealership and look at them. I mean, that's it. Go into the dealership, sit down with a sales consultant like yourself, a true professional that can really walk you through that process. You really have to put yourself on the inside to enjoy it and to kind of see, you know, what features you need, maybe what features you don't need.
Yeah. There was the previous store I worked at. I came across some kind of article. I don't remember all the statistics and stuff and the numbers, but essentially the article surveyed it was cars, a bunch of different car buyers. Specific question was, did you work with a salesperson or did you kind of go in and buy it? And then the other was, did you work with a salesperson? And the article kind of found that the majority of customers that worked with a salesperson through the process were happier with the purchase over the lifetime of ownership.
Oh, absolutely.
Versus they just kind of only searched online and then went in and bought based on what they thought, read and stuff like that.
Great point. There's a lot of resources at our fingertips now. I mean, and there's going to be more coming with this AI. That's a whole other thing. But there's a lot of resources at our fingertip. But some of them's accurate, some of them's not so accurate. You look at some of the social sites and you look, that's accurate. Well, that's not quite so accurate. So the best place is to stop by the dealerships, come in and look, and really sit in it and enjoy it and see how you're going to use it. Identify your needs at that point.
Can you talk a little bit just quickly about 5 Rivet?
5 Rivet. So 5 Rivet is our circle of excellence. And, we don't award 5 Rivet dealers. We don't. 21 days after the customer takes delivery, we send them a survey. Or 21 days after they have their service work and the ticket's closed out in service, we send them a survey. So it's a sales and service index. It's a sales and service survey. And we just ask them basically 9 questions. How was the sales process? How was the delivery process? And how was the follow-up process? That's it. It consists of 9 questions. And then they're scored off that. They have to be above the national average. So you got to be better than the national average to be considered a 5 Rivet dealer. And then, it's just not about getting 1 or 2 good surveys. You got to be above a certain threshold to on the return rate. So you got to get the surveys returned, but then you also got to be above the national average. That's on sales and service. So that's huge. 5 Rivet. 5 Rivet really is our service of excellence, and we call it Rivet because 5 Rivet because we're known for the rivet. Rivet. So it's something. The 5 Rivet, I will tell you, is very, very dear to me. I put a lot of time, a lot of resources, and just to making sure that everybody has the tools and they understand the 5 Rivet because it's important to our customers. And if it's important to our customers, it's certainly important to me, and it's important to Airstream. So the 5 Rivet is it's just a nice way to award the dealers that do well. And again, it's awarded through the customers.
Yeah, that's I think the difference that a lot of other, I think Winnebago used to do one, but it wasn't really through customer feedback. This is really through customer feedback, and I can attest, if a survey comes back that isn't positive or there's something in there, well, you guys reach out and ask what happened. And,
it's a training tool.
What can we do to do better? How can we help you? Which I find if you get a survey, you fill it out. Don't not fill it out.
That's right. And I'm telling you, you're either evolving or you're going backwards.
Yeah.
If you're not improving, you're going backwards.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. And the 5 Rivet's very, very important.
Well, I think that this is going to be one of the longest videos I've ever posted.
I enjoyed it. I really did.
I think it's going to be one of the best videos.
I don't know about that.
That will
Cut out the
go
bloopers, will you?
That will go on the channel. But Tim, I just want to say thank you for doing this and spending the time spending the time with me and doing this. If you have any questions, leave those in the comment. And if I don't know the answer, I've got his phone number. I'll call him.
I'm only a phone call away.
Only a phone call away. And I learned a lot in this walk around. So I really feel like folks that watch it are going to learn a lot too.
There's a lot there.
So, and if you need to contact me, all of my contact information is in the description.
Very nice. Well, thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
All right. Thank you all.